Hello there, you guys. How is everybody doing? I'm gonna let y'all start getting the notifications. Hey, Miss Diane. Diane, how you feeling today? Child, I done been at home all week. I've had the opportunity to get a lot of stuff done. I have um, schoolwork, housework, and I still ain't finished with the housework because I got so much stuff. And I went to the Home Depot yesterday. I was able to slip and slide, and I got me them really, 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 really big garbage bags that I like because I like to put shit, everything in one bag. I don't like small bags. I like to take the small bags and put them into the big bag, carry the big bag, one big bag. So I decided to jump on right quick. I've been on the phone this morning talking to the colonel. Diane, you know who the colonel is, the young man that you talked to before. And believe it or not, I was having a discussion with him about Howard Barnett's case for a little while. And he was talking about some of the things that they're doing, unfortunately. Because he really in the beginning, and I think he still has a respect for her. Yeah, your boy. I was talking to him this morning. I actually was talking to him last night too, because I had to check on him because he had been sick, and but he's getting around good, and talking about some things that CJ Davis was doing, the way that she's changing some stuff around. Somebody keeps sending me videos of when somebody goes live. I bet that's what it is. I click on it, it takes me straight to the video. Hold on, let me see. Why the person live? Oh, okay, they just sent me a video of a picture of Trey Slime. Um, I guess he in a hospital bed, um, throwing up gang signs or something. Um, wow. Uh, hey, Chocolate. Hey, Diane, Little Vegas. Who else? Black Barbie. Have any of you all received anything from the mail? Hey, Tyranny. Yeah, Diane. Look, Diane gonna say he always asks me about his. What happened to your friend? The one that I talked to that said she was gonna work on you. I go. I said I talk to her every day. She good. And then he always telling well, he was, I ain't gonna say that. I was gonna say he always talk about how, where his family is from and how they got land in different places, like in those areas. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. So y'all might be Kent. As they say, y'all might be Kent. Okay, so you all haven't received it. Okay. So what was I getting ready? So yeah, he was talking about Chief Davis. So tell him You hard to handle, but I'm. Oh Lord, have mercy. I wish he had the personality. I guess he can't do it now because I've been talking about him so much. I wish, but he wouldn't do it. I wish he had the personality to actually come on and talk and stuff like that. But he's not a big talker. He's definitely not going to. He ain't got that type of personality. I told him, I said, you a police for real. I don't know the you get a lot of the new age police officers. They're very talkative and playful because they're so young. Like you could tell he old school. He got that's just his personality though. But anyways, he was talking about how I I was thinking about Howard Barnett's case, and I was kind of talking to him about it, and he was kind of talking to me about some stuff as it relates to that, and um, yeah, mm, I was telling him that mm, yeah, so I don't know though. I woke up thinking about the Howard Barnett's case. Um, that was the first thing on my mind, and you could tell it was on my mind because y'all know I wake up real early, and what's so weird is as soon as my eyes open this morning, like that particular thing was on my mind, and the first thing I did was I called him. The first thing I did was I called him, and I didn't say hello, what you doing, or nothing. I was like, because my mouth was running, my mind was running a mile a minute. He said hello. I said yeah, and you know what? For that, what I forgot to tell you about Howard Barnett, such and such, such and such. So he was like, dog, you didn't say good morning, nothing. I just started going a mile a minute. So I don't know. Like I said, I just woke up with that on my mind. So he was trying to explain some stuff to me. Um, about that area they claim they buried him in. Um, yeah. So, anyways, you guys. So I tell you, um, mm, I just sometimes I just have a lot of stuff on my mind, and I have to give my mind a rest sometimes because it's always going like a hamster on a pinwheel. I was listening to yeah, I'm still going to because I think it's going to help all of us. Um, I be listening to certain motivational speakers, and I think this right here definitely resonates with me. Was saying sometimes um, if we give our minds a rest, we feel like we feel like that we're doing a disservice to ourselves. Like if we rest, so we're always doing something. I thought about that because even like, oh my god, mm, yeah. Because sometimes, like if I'm sitting still or something, and there are things that, I feel like, oh my God, I'm supposed to be doing this. Like the other day, though, it felt so good. I was just able to just lay on my couch and just look up at the ceiling. And it just felt so good to not have to do anything. And that's why I said I was going to start practicing. Just, it's good to take a couple of days off and not do anything. Because even when I have a habit and I have to catch myself when I'm not doing nothing, because like sometimes I be sitting on here, like on here is an outlet. So a lot of times, and now I start thinking, I know it's something that I'm supposed to be doing, and it ain't necessarily nothing. My mind would start wondering and scanning. What is it that you're supposed to be doing? You're supposed to be doing something. You're supposed to be doing something. And I think we do that all the time. Like we just go into overdrive. It's good to like rest your mind. Like this morning I woke up, and that was just because of a conversation he and I was having last night, about he was explaining some stuff to me about Howard Barnett case, and some of the investigators, and why things are, so I think what Chief Davis is doing, and I don't necessarily know. I know we try to get out of antiquated ways. Hey, and one way to think about it is, okay, it does take, in the past, it took MPD officers, like if they were patrolmen, it took them a long time to be promoted. So she comes and she tried to create and rename positions, right? What she's trying to do is align MPD with what they've been doing in Atlanta, which could be a conflict, because I feel like this. I know the sheriff's department has always, because the sheriff's department is more political because they appoint people, but the sheriff at will, he can promote anybody he wants to. Okay. Whenever he gets ready, you can come out the academy and be a damn captain. Okay. But with the Memphis Police Department, they've always made patrolmen wait 5 years, okay, before they were promoted. You had to be on the street for a patrolman for 5 years. I think before you could go to a specialized unit other than OCU was, you had to at least have been a patrolman for 3 years, which is why I felt like it was a bad idea with the Scorpion unit to have those officers in specialized task force, and they are still new, but a lot of them had not made 3 to 5 years yet, right? So that was not a good idea. You kind of do that for the officers that have put in their time, that have done their 3 to 5 years. But she's making all of these step um, positions, trying to model it after like Atlanta, and I don't think that's a good idea. So you got a lot of investigators who are being promoted to certain, like, first step sergeant, second. That's a bunch of bullshit, anyways. I can understand that's a way when you change the name of positions to get them more pay, but I think police officers should get more pay anyways, because that is to get good officers, you quality officers, right? And so a lot of the things that, so why you see like a lot of the people in that seem like they don't, investigations that seem like they don't know what they're doing, it is because a lot of the old heads are leaving that knew what they were doing, and you got a lot of new investigators that don't know shit. And so you basically, you're not keeping the old ones there to train them, because they hauling ass up out of there because of how she's remodeling stuff. And so people kind of get on the back of the police director. A lot of people try, I mean, not the police director, the mayor, okay? And so they say, well, you don't like to say anything about the mayor. I don't, because I like him, okay? I love his family and I like him. Um, so I tend to not talk about people that are like, loyalty is extinct these days. I'm like that in real life, right? But what people don't understand is that right before the mayor before him left, he it should have been illegal, but he gave her a new contract, right? He made sure he gave her a new contract to sign. So if he fired her, he'd have to still pay her out of the contract and hire and then pay a new police director too. So that's what a lot of people don't understand. You know, when they flying off half cocked, that is what they don't understand. So that's the reasoning for that. Um, but I just I woke up thinking about Howard, and he was trying to explain some stuff to me last night, and then I mean it's got my mind running. I know it takes time, but oh God, I just I don't you know um how do I say it? Like if a and I'll use just any case, right? So if you got somebody and a location has been identified, there shouldn't be any excuses. Um, and I understand what he's saying, but it's just got me anxious and it's just got me anxious and at the same time, like I'm like, what are they doing? And listen, hey, I know there are things that he can't tell me, so he explained it to me the best way he can. But I'm just one of those ones that's very anxious and impatient and stuff. So, um, I haven't had a day off since April when I got my little creature. I miss my grandbaby too. They called me, they FaceTime me this morning. I was still half asleep though, because I think my daughter, it was like I went right back to sleep. I all I can remember is that she kept ringing the phone until I answered it because I was asleep. And I could remember, I don't know nothing they said other than my grandbaby was grinning. Just her face was in the phone and the camera just grinning. I'm thinking about that now. Why in the hell she up so early? Because it had to have been about like 5:45, 6 o'clock or something like that. I hadn't slept well anyways. So you guys, like, yeah, my mind is all over the place anyways. Hey, John McCauley. Um, yeah. Anyways, we got to pray for everybody's family though. We pray for Howard Burnett's family. Pray for his children, his mother, his brother, especially his children and his mom, because you know, um, his whole family though, and anybody else that is missing. You know, any other body out there, regardless of who they are, that have been missing under suspicious circumstances. And we just pray for, speedy justice and all of that good stuff. She said he's just spoiled as he can be. His mom is going to have some issues when she gets him back. Well, you may as well keep him, Anissa, because I can tell you is not going to be able to get him back. You're not going to be able to give him back. You may as well keep him because you enjoying him just as much as he is enjoying you. Yeah, I took me some. Hey, Miss Pumpkin, Pooh. Yeah, I took me some wings out, and I'm doing cream of chicken wings. So y'all know I love to do like I love to do like cream of like mushroom or cream of celery. So I was looking at this video yesterday with this guy that has a cooking channel. He's a chef. He does Creole cooking, Creole food, and he spiced up the wings, and then he took cream of chicken, cream of mushroom, and cream of onion. Now I do got French onion dip. I don't want to use that though. But I ain't never seen the cream. And he mixed it all together. And after he seasoned it up, he put it on the chicken. Now I always use at least one, more than likely cream of celery or cream of mushroom. But I've never mixed all three together. And I ain't never bought cream of onion. And I've been thinking about that. Do I want to get out and go get me some cream of onion? Because I just know that's a lot of flavor. And I think I'm going to do like loaded baked potato. I think I'm gonna do a loaded baked potato with that, or I may do Parmesan asparagus. I'm not sure. I like to grill asparagus. It's too cold for me right now to do that, so I may just do the baked potato and just put sour cream and chives in it and be through with that. Without the cheese. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. Because I love chives, or I use green onions. I love green onions. Chop up some green onions, some sour cream, and butter with a baked potato. I found some potatoes at Sam's. Oh my God, they are so long and big. So I might have to cut it in half. Hey, John Brown. He says, any news on Trayon Ingram? Somebody was telling me with Trayon that his trial was pushed back. I believe they said to March. They pushed his trial back to March. Um, yeah. Anyways, you guys, like I said, everything is starting to melt. I thought they said that it was supposed to snow. I thought they said that it was supposed to snow or sleet again. Hey, John McCauley. Anissa said he got to go. Anissa don't want him to go. Anissa got him spoiled rotten. He running that house. I'm telling you. Hold on, somebody sent me a message. Oh, okay, I see. Let's see, y'all. I want to see what Dr. Fagan's.
Right, when you know the truth. And so I do want to share that if, you know, that same thing has to be done in any future position, then I do the same thing. I would study it, research it. I've looked at the budget for Shelby County, had several conversations and meetings with folks who were willing, from the inside to share like what's moving and what's not moving, where it could be, opportunities to make the work move more effectively, and we'll make the same decisions accordingly. And so I just wanted to share that so that you all have an understanding that there are folks who have reached out to me who were impacted by the RIFs, by the reduction in force, by those layoffs with Memphis Shelby County Schools, to share that some of my opponents have reached out to them to try to get them to record, negative testimonies, and folks who understand business and folks who understand what was going on understood it. I remained quiet then because I don't believe in rolling people and throwing them under the bus. And I've remained quiet now because I am in litigation and I plan to keep moving forward. But that stuff is public. And so I won't ever be afraid to tell truth and to stand on it and to share it, as often as possible without just beating, something that is old. I do want to make sure that you're taking care of yourself, from a mental health space. We don't give enough thought to how we are talking to ourselves. Your voice is the one you hear the loudest. And so I hopped on today mostly to check your pulse because I know that when we are in a stagnant space, idle for a while, we start to, become unproductive. So make sure that you are taking care of you and make sure that you are asking others if they are okay as well. Mental health resources. As a certified mental health professional, I understand the impact. I see it showing up in the way that people are showing up. And certainly we have the opportunity to make some investments across the board in mental health resources. And certainly bringing that to the forefront is an opportunity that I look forward to doing and championing regardless of the outcome of this race. And so make sure you check in on yourselves, taking care of yourselves and other people as well. And so we have some work to do. Please get registered to vote. Tell 3 other people to get registered to vote. Log on to the site from wherever you are. I appreciate you all in Australia. Some folks have logged in from or shared that they were logging in from Copenhagen, Denmark. Some folks out in California.
Yeah, that's the school board member school board director or superintendent that they fired, and she's now running for Shelby County mayor. Memphis politics is real dirty, y'all. Okay. They'd rather push people that are not qualified and harass those who are and not refuse to be a part of their system, of consistently taking advantage of the citizens of Memphis. And what I'm looking at doing is something my dad had wanted to do, and that is have a voters registration drive. That's something that I really want to do. I'm still thinking about doing it. I was thinking about who I could get to be sponsors for it. I think the issue is when you go to people and you want to talk to them about being sponsors for something. Everybody in Memphis wants something, even though it is for the better good of the city and the county. Okay. They want some crooked, they want to do a little something crooked. And me personally, I don't have the patience to be haggling with a bunch of crooked folks. Okay. I just don't have the patience for that. And so that's just kind of why I kind of move in silence. Because there are a lot of crooked, crooked, ambitious people. And they take advantage of the old people. Okay, they definitely do. So, but child, I'm gonna get Paul Young on. I'm gonna get Like I said, Steve Mulroy has already said that he wants to come. He will come on. He didn't say he wanted to. He said he will. And I have to wonder because I'm not going to attack Steve. Okay, I know people would want that, but I'm not unprofessional. I would like to talk to Steve about some things. I would have some professional questions for him, but no, I'm not gonna attack him. Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to. Um, I think I'll move forward with getting Steve on because he's already said he would. When probably like it's been cold and around this time I've been you move you tend to move on, you do what you need to do, but y'all know how it is when it's like cold and unmotivated. So but I'm gonna get him on soon to talk to him and ask him some things. We all know, you know, everybody is interested in his mindset as it relates to the young Dolph case. Now, I think at this point, um, probably the majority of what goes on in the young Dolph case, it's probably not in Steve's office anymore. So, it would be probably a lot of things that he would know at this point because his office would not be the office to prosecute it. So I think whatever goes on beyond um, Cornelius. Yeah, and I don't really think they know what's going on with Cornelius a whole lot. I kind of think that just listening to Hagerman in court the other day, I don't really think they know a whole. I don't think he knows what really is going on with that. I think Cornelius and his lawyer and whoever else they're communicating with um, knows because Hagerman said himself that Schultz stopped taking his calls. Okay, hold on one second. Y'all, hold on. Give me a minute. If he wasn't Cornelius's attorney anymore, he would have to withdraw and let the courts know that so that they could appoint him another one. So that's not the case. So, anyways, um, it's strange, y'all. It's a little strange because Cornelius has some people there in court in support of him, and they were right there with Hagerman. So, mm, mm, mm. Hey, Angel, the real boss. get to thinking about sometimes Anissa. I'm like, Lord, y'all, I love these seaweeds. I promise you, they're so light and they're so easy to eat. I know a lot of people like to put tuna on them. I just be wanting to open up the packages and I just be eating them without anything on them. I just like to eat them. Look, DoorDash and Uber Eats gonna send me a message on my phone talking about they back in business. I've already went and got my stuff. I don't need them to do nothing for me, but leave me alone. They canceled my order. Target people did. I got what I wanted. I always wanted to have 6 kids, but I guess God had other plans for me. I wanted to have 3 boys and 3 girls, and I wanted to live on I wanted to live on a lot of land and like grow a lot of my food. I ain't want no pigs and hogs and shit because I want to get ready to kill them. And I wasn't gonna have no damn man that was going back out there in the yard killing pigs and shit. Mm-mm. I wanted a man that could do it, but because I like country men with country values. Like when they're handy, they cut the grass, take out the garbage. Um, what else? Know how to fix shit. Cause you have some men that don't even know how to. They probably won't try. They don't know how to change light bulbs. Nothing. But rake the garden. I mean, rake the yard. Stuff like that turns me on. So yeah, yes indeed, child. It's a beautiful thing. Um, yep. I'm trying to decide on if I want to get my braids back or do I want to get a blowout. Last time I went to the beauty shop, I had my beautician to clip my ends, which was a good thing. because my hair has been growing so good with those dead ends. 'Cause y'all know I was wearing those braids all the time. And then she kind of blew it out and it's gotten so long. Um, hey Big G, you doing okay this afternoon? And yeah, I think I might I don't know, I think I might wear my own hair or get because now those braids really did my edges wrong because they made the braids too small. She let her niece them do my hair. I didn't like that. The twist that I be getting. And my edges are growing back. Now they weren't bald headed, they just had thinned out. So I had to buy, y'all know I buy everything anyway. So I had to be constantly treating my edges and oiling them and making sure I took my vitamin B complex because that grows your hair. You at work? Well, you know what? I'm starting to see. Well, that's because they putting something on the street. I'm trying. Let me see if because it's 29 degrees right now, and I thought they said it was supposed to. Okay, they're saying that the temperature is going to rise on Sunday. Let me see if it's going to be any more snow. Um. Okay, so it's 28 right now. It's going to be 22 tomorrow. It's going up to 48. Let's see. It's going to be cloudy on Sunday, but on Tuesday, it's going to ice up. It's going to rain. And I guess we'll be okay after that. Hopefully we got that ice and all that craziness out of the way. Hopefully, because normally what just happened, it always happens in February. So hopefully we'll have an early spring. That's what I'm hoping. Because I love the spring. Oh my God, I love the spring so much. It's like I become alive again. I perk up and all that good stuff. The weather be so good. I just be want to go walking and all of that good stuff. Hold on. Um, I'm trying to see. The kids been having a ball down here by me. Hold on, y'all. I'm trying to show y'all if I can pull it up. I don't see it, y'all. I'm just going to show you all something. Hold on, you all. I just saw it. I'm trying to find it. I'm going to show you all like what my area looks like. And it's like this right now. This is absolutely how my area looks. Because that ice ain't trying to go nowhere. I'm going to tell you that right now. Yeah, this is exactly how it looks in my area. Ice is melting just a little bit.
Cake pan recipe because
The kids have been outside having a ball though, but the water. I mean they tried to clean the streets up just a little bit, enough for us to drive. But um, you know, it's still not melting. That ice is hard. It's thick. It's gonna have to heat up. I think in order for all of that ice to melt, it's gonna have to go up to like 55 or something like that. What's up on One We Go? Yeah, my puppies are just like babies. I have them so spoiled because they get timid. They know when I'm mad at them. They get timid. They are just like kids, and they are so precious. They are. They just want to be loved. That's why I don't see how people can be, cruel to animals. I don't see how people can be cruel to other people. I mean, I don't like low down people. I know sometimes people have a defense mechanism. And I was talking to one of my friends, and he was saying that, and he's a very successful guy, very successful, just a nice guy. And he said that his cousin was trying to hook him up with somebody. He said she was trying to hook me up with somebody, and we met. And he said, she got a little something going for herself. He said, but Tamara, she was totally disrespectful. He said she was totally disrespectful to me. Totally disrespectful to me as a man. And you talking about a man that's got his own everything. Always have. Um, she got a little something going for herself. But I think as I was telling him, because he said he had told her, hey, no offense, but it's just best if we don't talk again. But because of how disrespectful she was, and I told him, I said, you gotta understand, like, there's no reason for women to be disrespectful to a man that's not disrespectful to her. But there are a lot of women that they use it as a defense mechanism. There are a lot of women, especially if they got something going for themselves, like unfortunately, there are so many men that are vultures. And I think men have to understand that. So when they meet a woman, I guess sometimes there's a preconceived notion, anyways, but men are going to have to start giving some of these women more grace. Hold on, you guys. Okay, you guys, I'm sorry, I was handling some business. What was I talking about before I forget what I was talking about before they called me. Everything sure always work out the way that it should. God is so amazing. You said it was slushy as hell yesterday. Yeah, I was getting ready to talk about something, and then that call came through. Let's see. I can't remember what I was telling y'all before they called me. I think I was talking about I hope that the springtime starts pretty early. That's what I was saying. I hope that spring starts real early so that because it's always so better for me in the spring. Like I like the spring and the summer months. I do not like the fall and the winter. There's some people they love the fall and the winter. I don't. I love spring and summer. I'm gonna do like a video for Howard Barnett today. I'm gonna do like a video for him. Yeah, why are people so evil? Why are people evil? I don't get it. I don't get it. Why people are so evil. And I don't think that's something that we'll ever like. I think that's something that people have been asking for hundreds of years. Why some people are so evil. Um, yeah. Hey TB21, Natalie said it's 84 degrees. Oh my God, that is such perfect weather. That is such perfect weather. Yep. Yes, we are. We're still snowed in. We're still snowed in. It's starting to melt. Well, not really, but they've been out there in the street, putting some stuff down so that it can melt. So people are able to get around better. So that's a good thing, you know? So that's a good thing. I was able, hey, straight to the point. So I was able to get to um the store myself yesterday. I went to the hardware store and got me those big garbage bags. I like the big garbage bags with the mint. It smell like mint. So I got those, and because I told y'all I had been going through my cabinets and finding all those old like cans that I had that have expired. So yeah, I've been doing that. So I was able to take quite a bit of those cans. They were heavy to the garbage yesterday. And a lot of other stuff. Yep. I get to wondering about that sometimes, like why how is it that people can fix their and they relish in that evilness too? Like it gives them great pleasure to do evil, but I mean it has nothing to do with anybody else other than themselves. There are, I know it's like my friend saying that the lady was so disrespectful to him. Um, and I was telling him that maybe he should give her a little bit of grace because it's a defense mechanism for a lot of women um, to protect themselves. You never know what they've gone through. I was saying that there are so many men, unfortunately, that look to try to use women to try to manipulate them and come up on them, come up off of them. So it makes women, it makes women have to, put up a facade a lot of times to protect themselves. A lot of people, when they want to use, when they can't use you, they call that bitter. That's a bitter woman. That ain't no damn bitter woman. Hell, that's a woman that's protecting what she has worked hard for, her assets. You have to watch them and say that. I get tickled by people diagnosing other folks. Um, no, and then there are some women that are just they're rude. They're very rude. So yeah, most of the time that's what it is. But women got to learn to those men that are respectful to them. They need to learn how to be respectful to those guys too. Yep, there's some people that are just rude, and that's not cool at all. Because I do see obnoxious women, and hey, they need to get themselves some help. They really are twisted with the way they do shit. Okay, it's an embarrassment to me sometimes. But I think sometimes I feel like women, like I said, a lot of women have been in positions, put in positions where they have to consistently guard themselves and protect themselves because if they don't, you have so many men now that it's just like second nature to be disrespectful to women. You know, they have a hate for women, and they feel like women are just to be used. So of course it is good for a woman to be guarded, but not allow it to make them bitter. Unfortunately, when you know, you have a like a Jovia type personality, you could just be a fun loving person. You know, some of these you know, women do it too, though. Sometimes some of these men think you be wanting them. Oh, she going. I think one of the things that people should look at is like the vocabulary of a man, like the thought process. And I can only speak as a woman, right? Like the vocabulary as a man. She going. He's still talking about some woman is going. He ain't my caliber. Okay, you stupid. The lady smiled at you and said hello, and you talking about she going. You're on a level that is about ninth grade. Okay, so you're on a ninth grade level, even though you're a 40-something-year-old man. So I surpassed that. I ain't been in the ninth grade probably in 30 something years, right? So you 30 years behind. So me and you just don't fit. Um, because you still have the process of a teenage boy, the thought process of a teenage boy. Because every woman that smiled at you ain't going. And so me loving to study the mind of people. I love studying about the mind. It's weird. I never wanted to be a psychiatrist. I don't. I get to thinking about men that always have that thought process, and I'm speaking as a woman. Some men have to speak from their perspective. I'm a woman. I have to speak from a woman's perspective. I ain't no man. Okay, so it ain't bashing. I'm just speaking from a woman's perspective. So me liking to study the mind of people, or the mind rather, just period, patterns and all of that. Okay, you also have to watch when that is the thought process of somebody, because there are deeper issues there. They have tendencies to be either rapists or killers, oftentimes rapists. Okay, and I think that those are the types of things that, see, I'm deep like that. Okay, but I'm usually never wrong. Okay, um they have tendencies to be rapists because a woman smile at you, you always hear them put into that she going. Yeah, she knows she wanted that. Regard, I don't care what happened to a woman or a child, it's gonna always be the woman or the child's fault. Okay, because they have those sexual deviant type characteristics. So I think that's why like I said, I just kind of go deeper, and I really really listen to what people say and how they think. I do. Um yeah. And I try not to be so cold, because I know a lot of time, like I said, I'm a friendly person, and in the past, I've liked to give people the benefit of the doubt. You know, you have a lot of people say you're my enemy. I look at you as an enemy before I don't look at you as an enemy. Me, I've always been like, okay, well, you know, I give a person the benefit of the doubt, and that's how people get burned a lot too. Well, I give them the benefit of the doubt until they prove to me, you know, that otherwise, you know. A lot of people think like that. Unfortunately, in a growing world of sociopaths and narcissistic people, you can't do that because they look at your kindness as being a doorway, a gateway to try and take advantage of you in some type of way. And so then when you cut them off, it's almost like a death to them. Like, oh my God, like it it really messes with them. And so then depending on what type of mind they have, since more and more people are is something going on, you might have issues. You might have issues that could become very concerning. Okay. Anyways, we've been on. I guess Hitta gonna come on tonight because I don't think Hitta has been on all week. But y'all know what? Like Alabama did not get any snow. I don't think Alabama got any of this ice and snow. I think it was just um Tennessee, and I don't know if it was up in the northern parts or the eastern parts of Tennessee. Um or and I know Mississippi did. Hmm. Hey, Miss Kawana, how are you? I ain't been talking about nothing. I was getting on. Um, I'm going to do. I'm going to do a little thing for Howard Barnett, and what we're going to do is we're going to pray. We're going to start praying for Howard and his mother and his children. Okay, we're going to pray for um, the law enforcement that is on his case. Okay, we're going to pray for God to give them keen eyes to see, um, keen eyes to hear, and for God to touch the hearts of those that need to be touched to make it clear, um, so that there could be justice, right? And so that's what we're praying for. But definitely his mom and his children are going to need everybody's prayer more than ever now. So, and as they always did, right? As they always did. Anyways, y'all, I tell you, if it ain't one thing, it's another. Mm. If it ain't one thing, it is another. Um, I want to show you all something. Yeah, I want to show y'all something. Let's see. Hold on, you all. I want to show y'all this. I just found this right here. This is a new podcast for somebody's podcast that I just ran up on. This case is real dear to me too.
On the summer evening of May 9th, 1994, in Pine Bluff, Arkansas, 18-year-old Clashendra Hall was dropped off at her after-school job. High school graduation was just 2 weeks away as she was preparing to go to college and graduate high school as valedictorian. Clea had big plans for her future, with becoming a pediatrician and getting accepted into Tennessee State University's pre-med program. But she didn't get a chance to embark on any of her plans. Somewhere along the night, while at her job that was only minutes away from her home, something happened. Clashendra never made it home, but was said to have been seen leaving in a car and several other stories that just doesn't add up. Oddly, that was the last time anyone has ever heard anything from or seen her, including her supervisor, Dr. Larry Amos. In fact, it's been 28 years and still with a lot of unanswered questions, strange things on the exact street she assumingly disappeared from, a home that contractors have reported something nearly unexplainable, and a tip that led to a search 18 years later. Still, no arrests have been made, and the case is unsolved and rather cold. Even with all of the suspicion surrounding this one person may hold the answers that we all want to know,
Oh, he said
and
that's
may have
Black Girl
always held
Home
the answers.
podcast.
With those closest to this one individual who may be harboring a secret from summer 1994. A girl with an entire future, working, and an honor student, a great family life. Then it goes dark. Clea just vanishes for nearly 3 decades. So what happened to Clashendra Hall on May 9th, 1994? Could she have just walked away from it all to completely abandon her now past life? Left with the boy and something happened there? Or was there something far more sinister with someone who she trusted that may not have been in her circle, but was in her presence on that same night, in those last moments? This is the Missing Found podcast. I'm your host, Jaden Harlow. Before we get into the case, I have a few details to share about the show. The Missing Found is a true crime podcast focusing mainly on unsolved missing person cases in the Black community. The cases that I cover have either gone cold, have little to no media coverage, or have gone without conclusion. You can follow the show on Instagram at The Missing Found, or on Medium at The Missing Found to read our original script. I also would like to mention that we have a case suggestion form in the show notes or description box that you can complete to submit your case suggestions that are of the Black and missing. We have a Patreon that's now available for you to become a member in our private community to discuss cases deeper beyond our case analyses through live discussions, ad-free episodes, gain complimentary access to our original script, early releases, and bonus content, and much more that's exclusive for members only. The show is now available on all major podcast platforms, including Apple, Spotify, and iHeartRadio.
All right.
To access all things of The Missing Found, you can visit our website, themissingfound.com. I ask that you please like, share, and subscribe and comment to share your thoughts on this case. This is case episode 12, The Disappearance of Clashendra Hall.
Shout out to them. So this is a fairly new podcast.
We can all relate to Clea. I remember when I had my first job in high school. It was at a summer camp. I followed a daily routine for when it was time to leave home for work and return home from work. I was a few years younger than Clea. I always had a ride to work, but there were a few times where I woke up late and had to catch the bus. The only difference between back when Clea went missing in high school in 1994 to when I was in high school is that I had a phone. I had a device that was traceable through cell towers. My phone did not have the advanced technology that we have now, like smartphones. But if I were to go missing somewhere along the route to get to work, my last footsteps could have been traced. However, for Clea, it was a different time. There was nothing on her person nor any cameras in the area that could have communicated her location, except only from the words of the last known person to see her. Think about the time when you were 18 and the many opportunities that something could have happened while you were going about your day. This is why with Clea's case, we can all relate, and still even in a highly digitally focused world today. Today we're discussing the bizarre disappearance of Clashendra Hall. Clashendra went missing in Pine Bluff, Arkansas, sometime before she was supposed to be picked up from work. We're looking at a case with nearly 30 years of mystery. Her mother dropped her off to work just to never be seen again. The year was 1994, so it was a different world than what it is today in technology. As you analyze this case with me, you'll see why this.
Justice for Dolph. I don't smoke no marijuana, but thank you though. I'll take it and I will. It's time for me to re-get my nails done. So let me know what color you like, and I'll get my nails the color. That'll be on my nails and my toes. So make a suggestion. I got lime green on now, but it's time for me to go back. So thank you for the donation.
This case isn't as convoluted as it may seem. In fact, the person responsible may be right there and well connected. We're going to look at the facts with the case details, the timeline of what we know, the person of interest, Clea's last known moments, and common theories. I will also conclude with my closing thoughts to analyze the small details that are far in between on what may have happened. So who is Clashendra Hall? Clashendra Denise Hall, or Clea, as everyone called her, was born to Willie and Laurel Hall on March 30th, 1976, in Arkansas. Together, Willie and Laurel share 4 children, and Clea was their only daughter. Clea has 1 older brother and 2 younger brothers, and they all come from a tight-knit family. She has parents that support their children and wanted only the best for them. In 1994, Clea was a senior at Watson Chapel Junior High School, where she was in the marching band along with her younger brother. She did well in school, both in activities, socially, and academically. Clea was your typical teenager. She always had friends, enjoyed talking on the phone, loved reading, and she also loved children. After graduation, she had plans to become a pediatrician. In an interview that Laurel, Clea's mom, did with Real Talk with Tamara, she mentioned how Clea was always playing with kids and babysitting.
Wait a minute. Let me go back. I was going to ask Justice for Dolph something. Sound like she mentioned me. So, Justice for Dolph, that video that you have, where you talking about Howard Barnett, can you send me just that clip? Like that clip of when you're showing that area. Can you send me just that, please? If you don't mind. If you can. If it take a lot to edit it, don't worry about it. I'll figure out a way to do it.
And they all come from a tight-knit family. She has parents that support their children and wanted only the best for them.
It's
In
just
1994, Clea was a senior at Watson Chapel Junior High School, where she was in the marching band along with her younger brother. She did well in school, both in activities, socially, and academically. Clea was your typical teenager. She always had friends, enjoyed talking on the phone, loved reading, and she also loved children. After graduation, she had plans to become a pediatrician. In an interview that Laurel, Clea's mom, did with Real Talk with Tamara, she mentioned how Clea was always playing with kids and babysitting.
That's my
Even
picture.
with church, which she always looked forward to attending. She was a volunteer in the nursery ministry. Clea had it all figured out, and she had a promising future ahead, which is why Clea leaving at her own volition is incomprehensible. At almost the start of senior year, Clea's friend and classmate, Erica, had told her about a part-time job where she and her sister, Esther, worked. Erica has a sister named Esther, who was a year younger than both Erica and Clea. Erica mentioned that she and her sister were looking for a new job and was helping the supervisor find a replacement before they quit. Now, it's not exactly clear if the girls had already quit the job or they informed their supervisor that they plan on resigning, and he instructed them to find someone to take on their role. I will go further into this later, into the analysis, because the manner in which the sisters were planning to leave the job is questionable, in my opinion. Clea was interested in the position because it would be the perfect way to make some money throughout senior year, and it would eventually help save for college since she was accepted into Tennessee State University's pre-med program, and she had plans to start an internship in Boston at a pediatrician's office. Not only that, the job was not far at all from her home, less than 1 mile. Clea had asked her parents about taking the job opportunity. After some thought, both Willie and Laurel had decided it was okay for her to take the job because it was close to home and she would be working only for a few hours after school and sometimes on weekends. And as long as it would not interfere with school or church work, there was no problem. Their decision did not come easy, though, because before they said it was okay for her to take the job, Willie, her dad, had asked people about this supervisor to learn more of who he is, if he was involved in any criminal activities, or anything that he should know prior to allowing his teenage daughter to be in his presence. No one said anything negative about him, and several people just didn't have much to say. Nothing negative or positive. The Halls were your typical loving parents that were both involved in all of their children's lives, and even still today with their now adult children. They were the type of parents that wanted to know where their child was going, with who, and if possible, they would be right there. Both Willie and Laurel were involved and protective of their children. Clea did not know, and neither did her parents, but at some point while working at this job, it would be the last her family would see her. The case details. Clea starts work. Clea is hired by supervisor, Dr. Larry Amos, a businessman who ran a charity for allocating meal resources for daycares. He had a nonprofit organization for a food program that provided individuals with daycare's food to supply to the children. The job was located at Dr. Amos's home in his home office and situated just above his garage. Clea worked there as a part-time employee. Her role was to perform clerical duties for his program, directly reporting to Dr. Amos. The Amos residence is located on the 5300 block of Fawcett Road in Pine Bluff, Arkansas. I want to mention that Clea's parents never saw the inside of Dr. Amos's home prior to her starting the job, let alone the exact office she worked in. You will find later that something or someone was preventing this to happen. Clea and her mom had an understanding that she would drop her off to work after school and pick her up in the evening. Clea would call home when she was ready to get off work and be picked up so Laurel can drive up the street to pick her up. Instead of Laurel blowing her horn to let Clea know she was outside, she would pull into the driveway of the Amos residence, and Clea would look out of the window, which faces the front of the house. She would sign out on the paper timesheet, verbally inform Dr. Amos that she was leaving for the night, walk into the garage that's connected to the house, push the button to let the garage up, and run from under it so that it can close to meet her mom in the driveway to leave work and head up the street back home. This was standard practice. At this point, Clea worked with Dr. Amos for about a year now. The first ring. Clea was on schedule to attend work on May 9th, 1994. Laurel picked up Clea from school to take her to work. When they both arrived to Dr. Amos's home where she worked, no one was there. Laurel and Clea went home, and then she took a nap on the sofa. A little before 5 p.m., Dr. Amos's wife called to the Hall residence and said Dr. Amos just returned home and Clea can come to the house so she can start her shift. Laurel woke Clea up and drove her to his home to begin her shift at 5 p.m., and Laurel watched her walk in. This was the last time Laurel saw her daughter. After dropping Clea off, Laurel and Clea's siblings attended her youngest son's baseball game. After the game, Laurel and the boys went home. She mentioned that the rest of her evening she spent time laying on her bed and reading a book while the boys were hanging out in the house and while Willie was at work. Around 8:15 p.m., Clea called home and asked if anyone called or left a message for her. I want you to keep in mind that this was during the early 90s, so Clea did not have a cell phone or any mobile cellular device, and cell phones were just becoming mainstream, which still, at that time, were not as advanced as today or even in the early 2000s. When she called home, her middle sibling answered and spoke to her. He mentioned that no one called for her. Clea concluded the call by saying she would call back once she is ready to leave work to be picked up. She said bye, and they both hung up. Nothing was out of the ordinary. The second call that never came. Laurel ended up falling asleep. Her husband, Clea's dad, Willie, came home from work around 12:45 a.m. He would always check in on the children when he got home from work to ensure they were in their rooms. This night, however, was different. Willie quickly noticed that Clea was not in her room. Willie woke Laurel up and asked where Clea was and if she was still at work. Still half asleep, Laurel quickly got up, went to Clea's room to look, and realized she has to still be at work since she did not pick her up. Laurel ran to the living room, looked for the number to Clea's job, dialed the number, and her boss, Dr. Larry Amos, answered on the first ring. This would imply that he was already in close proximity to the phone, the home office area in which Clea worked. This encounter had to be minutes after 12:45 a.m. and just before 1 a.m. Laurel briefly spoke to Dr. Amos, asking if Clea was still there. He said that she was not there and she had already left. He actually placed Laurel on hold and checked the timesheet and said that she signed out at 8:30 p.m., which was the usual time she would get off from work. But Clea would call when it was time to leave so her mom can pick her up. Laurel then asked Dr. Amos, who did she leave with? Because she was supposed to pick her up at 8:30 p.m. or when she was finished with work. He said that he did not know who she left with. Now, I must mention that Dr. Amos's story changed a few times. At this point, Laurel assumed that Clea was just trying to stretch her independence since she was a senior in high school and was set to graduate high school in only just 2 weeks. Like any typical parent, Laurel stayed up and waited for her to get home, assuming she was just hanging out and would be home later, like some teens. If this were the case, she would have been in trouble as soon as she got home since this was uncharacteristic for Clea, and she knew that that was something that just wasn't accepted in her household, like a lot of households. We've all been there as teens, where we push the bar as far as we can with our parents. Well, Clea never came home. She never came home at any time throughout the night. A school absence, and the longest day ever. Clea and her middle brother, who was in 10th grade at the time, both had band class at school during their first period. Just like after work and throughout the early morning, Clea never showed up to school. On this day, May 10th, the seniors were at a nearby elementary school performing, so Clea had to be there with her other classmates. Both her brother and Laurel assumed that maybe Clea did actually make it to school but was present at the elementary school, which is where she should have been with the other seniors. Laurel found out about this because her middle son, who shared band class with Clea, went to the front office to call their mom to inform her of Clea's absence, or possible absence. During this time, Laurel was a little panicked, but still under the assumption Clea was just pushing the bar very high, even though this is eminently uncharacteristic for her. Through this, Laurel had an unsettling feeling. At noon, the seniors returned from the elementary school. Clea was not present, nor was she in attendance at the school. Clea has not been seen or heard from by her family for 17 hours. Clea did not have a car nor a pager. So where could she have been for all of these hours? That's when the Hall family knew right away something was just not right. And in that moment, Clea was officially a missing person. Laurel called the police to report her daughter missing. However, this could not happen. She had to wait a full 24 hours to report Clea missing. She had to wait until 5 p.m. on that day, Tuesday, since she was last seen by her mother at 5 p.m. on Monday when she dropped her off at work. As we all know, time is the most valuable asset when it comes to a missing person. With knowing our loved ones' characteristics and practices, we know what is typical behavior and what is not. A person of interest. Well, there was no major search conducted by law enforcement initially. That was done in Dr. Amos's home 2 weeks after Clea went missing, but law enforcement found no signs of a struggle or anything to show a crime took place in his to see a missing victim. It is largely believed that Dr. Amos was the last to see Clea since she was last at work in his home. After Clea went missing, Laurel and Willie did several interviews with hopes of finding answers as to where Clea is or what happened to her. Missing flyers went up, word got around Pine Bluff, and still nothing. Laurel spoke to Dr. Amos directly on the Wednesday after Clea went missing, 48 hours later, on May 11th, and before he left the state. Laurel and Willie did an interview at a radio station, and the interviewer had called Dr. Amos so he can tell his side of the story of what would be the last sighting of Clea. There was another exchange between Dr. Amos and Clea's parents about 2 or 3 weeks after Clea went missing. A psychic was brought in, and she wanted to actually see where Clea worked. Both Laurel and Willie waited until about 2 p.m. to allow Dr. Amos to get home from church since it was on a Sunday. While home, they noticed he drove past their house, which was an oddly regular occurrence after Clea went missing. In order for him to get home, he does not need to pass the Hall residence. It's as if he would.
Let me just say this. She is absolutely right. His house, once you turn on his street, his house is off of the little main street. He does not have to go around their neighbor. You actually have to drive past his house to get to their house, unless you are, I don't know, you want to go down those little streets and take the long way. But his house is right off of the main street, right? So they are absolutely right. Okay, she's absolutely right about that. So
detour his usual route just to go past their home. I would imagine that this was his method of keeping tabs on the case by seeing who was present at the Hall residence at the time. When Willie and Laurel thought he made it home, she called Dr. Amos and asked if her family can come over, but he said he had a meeting. He also asked who wanted to come over, and Laurel said their family, Laurel, Willie, Clea's brothers, aunts, and the psychic. Dr. Amos made mention that he did not want to be bothered with any psychics. As a result, still to this day, Laurel nor Willie ever seen the inside of his home where Clea worked and had no communication with Dr. Amos due to Dr. Amos dismantling all communication and the willingness for communication. He also has not participated in any of the searches for finding Clea, even still today. He simply just did not want to have anything to do with the search on any level. In fact, he was said to have been paying people to remove the flyers from near and on the public street area of his home. You would think because someone went missing after working at his home, he would be more involved or at least show an ounce of concern. But that just wasn't the case here. The timeline. Before we go further into the case analysis, I want to recap and simplify the timeline of what we've covered so far to allow you to understand the series of events from when Clea was last seen, last spoken to, and when things went quiet. May 9th, early morning, Clea attended school. By afternoon, Clea was picked up from school by Laurel, her mother, and was taken to Dr. Amos's house. Dr. Amos was her employer, and she worked out of a home office. It was understood that Dr. Amos, his wife, and small son lived in the home. Later that afternoon, Laurel ended up taking Clea home because Dr. Amos was not home, so she can start her shift. It is not clear if Clea had a set schedule or if she would just work as available. Late afternoon, early evening, Dr. Amos returns home, and his wife calls Clea's home to inform her that she can come to work because Dr. Amos is back home now. At around 5 p.m., Laurel drops Clea off at work. She watched her walk into his home.
So what do you all think about that? Thank you, Cypress, for the $20 super sticker. Thank you so much, darling. What do you all think about Dr. Amos's wife calling Clea and asking Clea if she could come in early because Dr. Amos was back home? When I actually called and spoke with Dr. Amos, he talked to me like I was a damn piece of shit. Okay? He was mad as hell at me for calling him. But at the same time, he was so mad, he started blurting out like insults at Clea's mother. And he said, why would a woman send her child to my house and anyways, and I wasn't at home? So he told me that although his wife called and asked if she could come in early, he told me that he wasn't at home. Okay, so that's something. What do you all think about that?
This is the last time Laurel set eyes on Clea.
Pine Bluff, Arkansas.
After 5 p.m., Laurel and her sons, Clea's brothers, attend her youngest son's baseball game. We don't have an exact time the game concluded, but we can assume that the game ended somewhere around 6:30 and 7 p.m. I say this because Laurel made mention that after the game, they all went home and the boys were just hanging out and she was on her bed reading a book. At around 8 p.m., Clea called home to see if anyone called her. Both her brother and mom picked up the phone. Her brother told Clea that she didn't have any calls. Clea says she will call back when she's ready to be picked up from work. The call ended and the second call never came. This is the last time her family heard her voice. There also has been no reporting or mention from Laurel to state whether this call was odd or alarming. At around 8:30 p.m., sometime after the call, Laurel had took what was supposed to be a nap, but she ended up oversleeping past the time to pick up Clea. Clea never called home so her mother can leave out to pick her up. Her shift usually ended at 8:30 p.m., but there has been times where she would work past 8:30 p.m. May 10th. Willie arrived home from work around midnight, checked on the children, and noticed Clea was not in her room. He woke Laurel up and asked where Clea was and if she was still at work. A few minutes before 1 a.m., Laurel immediately called Dr. Amos's home office. He answered on the first ring. He said Clea left at 8:30 p.m. and confirmed this by checking the timesheet. Tuesday morning, a school day. Clea's brother reported to their mom using the school office phone that Clea was not in band class, nor was she at the elementary school where the seniors were performing that morning. Then, Laurel attempted to file a missing persons report, but she had to wait the full 24 hours. The full 24 hours would be at 5 p.m. on Tuesday, that same day. At 5 p.m., Laurel filed a missing persons report. She expresses that it was not taken seriously. May 11th, Dr. Amos left Pine Bluff and went to a neighboring city to check on some businesses for the daycares that he provided food for. May 12th or 13th, he left the state to take care of more business. After that, things went fuzzy, but his actions sure didn't. As told by Dr. Larry Amos. Dr. Amos had told a series of different stories recounting when Clea left his home. Story 1. Clea left at her normal time, 8:30 p.m., and she left in her ride. What this means is Clea left with someone in a car. She got into the car and she rode off with whomever was in the vehicle. Story 2. Clea looked out of the window 2 or 3 times like she normally does. He heard the garage go down, but didn't know who she left with. Clea did not inform him or his wife that she was leaving like she normally does. Story 3. His wife gave Clea a peach pop and she left. They offered her popcorn, but she refused the popcorn and she preferred the soda, or pop as they call it. As you can see, there are several different scenarios that Amos presented. The common denominator of all 3 stories is that Clea left from his property. From what we know based on other articles, the people that lived in the Amos residence during the time Clea went missing were Dr. Amos, his wife, and their son who was very young at the time. The search. Very early into the investigation, there was a search in Dr. Amos's house and a local ground search, and nothing came of either. They searched the woods, brought in cadaver dogs, and nothing. Not one element brought up anything remotely close to alluding to where Clea was or any sign that she was ever brought into the woods or near them. The woods were checked since the area they lived in was surrounded by heavily wooded areas. The search always remained local. I don't know if this element alone speaks volumes of the fact that the search was kept local or says absolutely nothing without saying too much. In the beginning, Clea's case wasn't taken seriously. In fact, law enforcement considered Clea a possible runaway. This is typical in cases that are amongst the Black and missing, so I'm not surprised. It was deemed as a case of a runaway due to her being 18 and her being a senior in high school. The thing with that is, Clea didn't take any clothes. She didn't have a phone or a pager, and she didn't have enough money on her to get very far, nor did she have her ID. She was a smart girl. And I say was because that's all we have to go off of, so I have to speak of her in past tense. In her family's mind, Clea is still 18, even today. She was set to graduate in just 2 weeks prior to her disappearance and was ready for her future since she was finally getting into the field that she had dreamed of since she enjoyed working with children. She had a job set up within her field of medical and pediatrics, and she got her acceptance letter for college. This was all what she was looking forward to. Then something happened. Law enforcement began to take things a little more serious when they actually went to her school and learned that she was not a troublesome teen. Law enforcement began to take things a little more serious when they actually went to her school and learned that she was not a troublesome teen and an honor student. She excelled well academically, and it was unlike her to just go off or go missing. That's when they realized Something was suspicious surrounding her disappearance. I want to make it clear that whether a person are those things or not, they still deserve to be found. One thing that law enforcement forgot to check was her locker at school. Could there have been something of relevancy there? Possibly, but we would never know. The curiosity of Dr. Amos. Dr. Amos has been and is known to be well observant around his house, so it is quite peculiar for him to not have seen Clea leave, see who or what vehicle picked her up, and see who left. He has gone on record to say that he has no more responsibility to Clea than he would any employee. This statement alone directly communicates the extreme lack of care of someone disappearing from or last seen at his place of residence and employment. Because of this, I wonder why. Does he already know where Clea is? Or what happened that night? It wasn't like Clea to just leave and not tell anyone she was gone for the evening. You have to ask yourself, what could be his reason of pushing himself further away from the case? Could it be to protect himself from any accusations? Understandably. Or could it be he knows more and wants to completely separate himself from the case? Odd behavior. From the very beginning, Dr. Amos demonstrated questionable actions after Clea disappeared. During the searches that were conducted, the Hall family and other locals would place missing person flyers around the neighborhood for Clea. They would hand the flyers out and hang them along with bows. The flyers and bows were placed all throughout the community and even on power poles. The family noticed that some of the flyers were removed. A family friend one day saw Dr. Amos physically removing the flyers from off the public street. Once this family friend witnessed it, she immediately called Laurel. It was also found out that Dr. Amos was actually paying a neighbor's son and his friends to remove the flyers. The question is why? What would be the reason for him wanting to remove something that is helping to find a missing teen that he employed and was last seen at his home? As stated from Laurel in her interview on...
Let me ask you all something, simply because I have to stop it. Do you all think that the doctor did something to her, or do you all think his teenage son did something to her? What do you all think? Because everybody has their thoughts, but do you all think that he was covering for himself or for his teenage son? Let's keep going.
Real Talk with Tamara, she mentioned something that was, in my opinion, interesting. Prior to Clea going missing, Dr. Amos would park his car in his driveway while his wife parked her car in the garage. However, once she went missing, things changed. Dr. Amos began to park his car in the garage and his wife's car was parked in the driveway. This isn't something that I can confirm, but it is stated from Laurel and something to keep in mind. This is just a few of the many interesting behaviors presented by Dr. Amos that could mean something, or it could mean all of nothing, except protecting what he thought people were after, his innocence. Mystery inside of the Amos residence, 18 years later. It took nearly 20 years, 18 to be exact. It took 18 years for law enforcement to garner enough probable cause to obtain a search warrant to perform another, more extensive search of the Amos residence. 18 years. Only 18 when she went missing, and 18 years to find probable cause. In my opinion, 18 years too long and too far removed. The search took place the week of March 26, 2012. As a result of the search that lasted around 7 hours, police were seen carrying a few pieces of evidence outside of the house, while Dr. Amos, who still had access to enter and exit his home, was seen photographed reading mail. Just casually reading mail while a search is in progress regarding a missing teen last seen at his property. It's not clear exactly what brought on the search. Sure, they received enough probable cause to ensue a search, but what led to that?
Okay, so let me tell y'all what brought on the search. Dr. Amos had some Hispanics filling holes with cement in his backyard. Okay, there was some holes in his backyard, and he called some Hispanics out to fill it with cement. When the Hispanics was back there filling the holes in his backyard, they said that it was foul smells coming out of those holes in his backyard. These Hispanics didn't know anything about Clea. This had been years later, and it was so concerning to them. The Hispanics went to the police department. And let the police know that they had gone to this man's home and was filling up holes in his backyard and foul scents like that smell like decomposed bodies. That's how the holes smell, as they was filling up the holes. And so the police department, so I'll let her finish.
Statements were given and from who? What precipitated the cause for a search? Could this be someone who knows more, or could this be someone who is involved? Could it just be allegations? I don't know if we would ever know. After the search and some items removed from his home, Laurel would check in with the chief regarding the evidence to obtain the status of its processing and if anything came back. The chief claimed to check every week on the evidence, but there were no results that came back. Well, come to find out, the crime lab never even received the evidence. It went from being taken out of the Amos residence in bags to the trunk of the police car to just the evidence room. It never even made it to the crime lab until 40 days later. What came of those results? I don't know. Dr. Amos made sure to mention that he's had 9 renovations done on his home and that they should have done this search 18 years ago. I have to agree with him there. Had a search been done prior, a more extensive search, and sooner, there may have been more answers. In my opinion, I don't think they would have found anything in May 1994 either, not even a strand of hair that's out of place. I will discuss why later. The timing of this search could not have came at a better time for Dr. Amos. Evidence could have been destroyed, he's had renovations, and there just won't be much evidence there to lead to Clea's whereabouts, if something even happened in his home. We can't totally disregard the fact that someone could have picked Clea up or something happened after she left work. It's possible, but highly likely? Many strongly doubt. The unforgettable renovation that reeked of a body. Speaking of the renovations, I have something better for you. According to an article on Fox 16, it was reported that contractors who were hired to conduct renovations on Dr. Amos's property in the late 1990s recalled seeing blood splatter on the insulation, a horrible smell, and flies surrounding one spot. Now, this isn't something spoken about much, nor has it been confirmed, so I can imagine that may be why. This is interesting to note because I question what were they working on? What was the job they were hired to complete? When did they notice the smell? When did they report this finding? Who did they report it to? And where did that claim go? All questions that need answers. This reporting was given or made public close to the date of the last search in 2012, and possibly what prompted this search. This could mean one of two things. It could have been seen back in 1994, or it could have been any time between 1994 and 2012. Not very insightful on a date, but it is something I wanted to add. This report was made public in some media outlets and on a case episode update for Clea on TV1's Find Our Missing, Season 2, and aired on February 25th, 2013. It was a show that had only 2 seasons, and they covered Clea's case in 2 separate episodes, Season 1 in 2012 and Season 2 in 2013. In that second episode, I remember this finding being mentioned about the contractors. I'm sure it's somewhere in Clea's case file, but it's just not talked about much in media. I wish I had more insight on this finding, but for now, we can only report it as it's being reported. The rule out. Clea had a boyfriend. There was talk about Clea having a boyfriend or someone that she was interested in at her church. I've heard it was a boyfriend, then I heard it was someone she was interested in. He was cleared of any involvement. I don't have much details on him, a name, or even any specifics, but he was considered, then ruled out after a search of his vehicle, questioning, and a polygraph test resulted in being inconclusive.
Also, when I was investigating the case, I found the young man that she was in communication with that night that she went missing. And he said that he told the police. Clea's mother didn't even know this. He said Clea's mother had fallen asleep and she was going to walk home, which was about 10 minutes away. It's on the next block up the street from Dr. Amos' house, maybe 10 minutes away, if that, on a walk, right? He said Clea had called him. He said, I told the police this, that she was supposed to call me back. I was going to walk her home. And she never called me back. Now, this was a teenage boy. Clea's mother said that she had never heard that. Okay.
The reason he was considered is merely due to them being peers. Perhaps they were close and were in communication. The sisters and everything we don't know. As I mentioned earlier in my analysis, Clea found out about the job through her friend and classmate Erica and her sister Esther. The two girls had worked for Dr. Amos at his home and seemingly recruiting for him to fill the position since they quit or planned on quitting. The teen girls had some form of relationship and rapport with Dr. Amos.
Yes.
Erica and Esther's mother ran a daycare. Well, guess who funded her daycare with meal resources?
Amos.
Dr. Amos. The family also attended the same church that Dr. Amos attended. It's not public how close, if at all, the girls and their family was to Dr. Amos, but they did know him far more than they led on when sharing the job opportunity to Clea. If they did decide not to disclose this information for whatever reason, then I would ask why. This is something that I learned as I was analyzing Clea's case. It's not strange that they knew him, but it is strange that the teen girls were recruiting to find someone else to fill the role. Not two people to fill both positions, but just one. What teenager do you know is going to fulfill a mission to find someone to take their spot at a job? Maybe if you knew the employer well and had a relationship of some sort with him or her. Did Dr. Amos send the girls on a mission to find another girl? And why did the girls want to quit, or why did they quit? If this information was shared...
Okay, I got a story about that too. So I reached out to the girls. One of them was willing, had gotten really sick. She was willing to give me an interview. She actually passed away last year. Clea's mom sent me a picture of her in the paper. She succumbed to her sickness last year. That was Esther. When I told her that I wanted to do an interview with her when I went to Pine Bluff, that I was investigating the case, she was very jovial about it. When I asked her about Dr. Amos's wife, she said that Dr. Amos's wife was always really nice. She didn't really want to say a whole lot about Dr. Amos because her mother still has a close relationship with Dr. Amos. I called her sister, who both these girls recruited Clea for Dr. Amos. When I called her sister and I told her sister who I was and what I was doing, I was investigating Clea's case, she hung up in my face and blocked me. Okay.
With Clea, it didn't make it back to Laurel. Laurel stated that the girls found another job. At least that is what they told Clea. A year later, after Clea disappeared, both girls were still unemployed. Laurel believes they never had another job. So why did they leave? The reason this element is odd because Erica has not been too vocal nor forthcoming with Laurel throughout her case. She just doesn't want to have anything to do with it, it seems. I'm unsure if this is due to her feeling responsible since she is the one who informed Clea about the position, or something else. Another question. Did they witness something odd from Dr. Amos that put them in a tough spot that made them feel uncomfortable, so they quit or wanted to quit? If there was something going on, would Erica subject her friend to that? Could the reason of them quitting is because something went on? Erica would have needed or wanted to have a job, especially after graduation being only 2 weeks away. I do wonder what provoked them to leave the job and what agreement was made between the girls and their employer with finding the perfect fit for the role. Clea. I'm not alluding to either of the girls being involved. In fact, I don't think they're involved at all. I do believe they knew Dr. Amos from church and business with their mom, but I would like to know why did they want to leave the job? This would be good to know because it would communicate whether something happened on the job from Dr. Amos and lets us in a little on his practices with his employees. Just something I thought I would mention. And this could be me looking too far into this detail, but it is something I wish I had more insight on.
He made them girls recruit him somebody.
An impressive real estate portfolio. As of today, according to Laurel, Dr. Amos has an interesting portfolio of real estate. He still owns his property where Clea was last seen, and he purchased nearly every property that is surrounding that home and rents out the surrounding homes. It's not him buying property that's bad, because it's not. However, it raises my eyebrows as to why, if this detail is accurate. Is this to control the neighborhood on who gets to move in and around him? This is a power move. A power move that can mean a few of the aforementioned things. It involves regulation and control, but it also could be an opportunity. A lot of us understand the benefits of real estate, buying and holding. Though an interesting mention, is this enough to see theories? Theories are not something I always include in my analyses. I don't because it can throw things off. I do it on a case-by-case basis. I look at the length of time from the case and I consider the facts that we have. Now, there are 3 main theories on what happened to Clea. First, I read comments where some suggest Clea attempted to walk home since she lived in close proximity to Dr. Amos, then was abducted somewhere along the walk. As of today, there's no evidence to support this theory, but it is a theory worth mentioning. It then makes you reconsider the theory that Dr. Amos reported about seeing Clea get into a car. Second, some believe that Clea may have decided to run away. Clea had a supportive family, but they were protective. There's nothing wrong with protective parents, but some from the outside looking in and even from within may feel she felt suffocated. This ideology is possible, but unlikely. Many that knew Clea said that this is uncharacteristic for her. Lastly, some have alluded to Dr. Amos being involved. They claim that he had a hand in her disappearance. This theory is largely believed, and it just can't be confirmed, even still nearly 30 years later. I can understand this theory because of the public facts. The first search of his home was done 2 weeks after Clea's disappearance. This time span is enough to conceal a crime scene and cover up any evidence, which is why I believe in that search that was done 2 weeks after her disappearance, they wouldn't have found anything. There just has not been any findings to suggest something happened in his home, at least none that they could find 2 weeks after and 18 years later in 2012. My opinion. This case is one that I just can't put my finger on. I can only present the facts, and though there are many, the case still has some holes that only Clea and the person or persons involved know. We all see the facts, but there's just something missing. Things went dark after 8:15 p.m. when she called home to see if anyone.
No, actually, I spoke with her sister. Their names are Erica and Esther. I spoke with the sister that was sick. It was Erica. She's dead. She passed away last year. And she was very friendly. Um, she said something because I recorded it about Dr. Amos' wife. Never, she was always really nice. She wouldn't have been the one to, call for someone to come in unless Dr. Amos had told her to. She kind of said that, but she didn't want to say anything bad about Dr. Amos. The other sister, which would be her sister that's like a year younger than her, I called her afterwards. After I talked to her, she hung up in my face and blocked me. Then the very next morning at like 5:30 or 6 o'clock in the morning, she called me back and just held the phone. Because I was like, hello? Hello? And she didn't say nothing. She just held the phone.
Left a message or called for her. She was supposed to call back so her mom can pick her up. Laurel fell asleep and would have awoken to her call, but it never came. There is a wide window of opportunity from the time she called and then after. A lot can happen in 15 minutes. We know Clea was alive when she called home, but afterwards, things went silent. When I think about the last call home, was that call really her just checking in, or was she indirectly trying to communicate something else? We have to remember that Clea did not have a phone of her own, nor a pager, from what we know. Because of this, any outgoing call would have had to be made on the home phone connected to the Amos residence, which we can assume that Dr. Amos could or would listen to her conversations, unless there was a separate line and he still could have another phone connected to that line to listen to the calls. She may have known this. Clea worked with Dr. Amos for about a year during the time she went missing, so she would be familiar with his characteristics. I also wonder, was Dr. Amos near her when she made the call home? After listening to hours of interviews from Laurel, there has not been anything to suggest Clea was trying to give a signal or express fear during that call. This may or may not have been something that Laurel or even her brother picked up on if there was anything else to that call. We can't deny that Dr. Amos's actions are questionable after she went missing. Could his actions be to avoid being looked at as a suspect who had involvement in her disappearance? Or is it him guilty in trying to control the case? Another thing that really stuck out is how could Dr. Amos be confident that Clea's mother didn't show up at the usual time she would pick her up from his home after work? Basically, if he is responsible, then how would he have explained to her mother that Clea left? It was expected for Laurel to pick up Clea like she normally would at 8:30 or near that time after she would have called, and that night would have been no different. Laurel fell asleep and lost track of time. When she called to his home after being awakened by her husband, it was close to 1 a.m. At that time, Dr. Amos answered the phone rather quickly, as if he was in the room or waiting on this call or busy in the office doing something. Laurel also mentioned that Dr. Amos's ex-wife came forward and met with her to say that he is abusive and violent. The question is, can this conclude that he was involved in the disappearance of Clea? It's all information, but does it relate to her case?
Both are his wives.
You have these different stories of how Clea did not inform him or his wife of leaving. Then you have the story of her getting into a car with someone.
And let me just say this. I found his first wife that and I called her, and the lady the lady went into a panic attack with me, y'all. The lady went into a panic attack with me. I had to get her calmed down. I told her, I said, I'm a private investigator and I'm investigating the case. And she flipped out. I don't know nothing. I don't know nothing. How you get my number? I don't know anything. I promise you I don't. I have kids myself. I mean, like I had to get her calmed down. And she'd been divorced from him she was divorced from him way before this happened to Clea, but he was very he was very abusive to her. He used to beat her all the time. And then how she got away from him was he was beating her one time. She threw some hot boiling water on him and ran out the house. His new wife, well, the wife he married after her, he's still married to. I found recent police reports. He still beats on her, and she was the one he was married to. She does not talk unless he tell her to. So nobody can get her to talk. She does not speak unless he say talk.
Lastly, you have another story of her leaving with a peach pop and things just go dark after that. All of them are unconfirmed. As I mentioned earlier, what they all have in common is that Clea left. But did she? Did Clea really walk out? If she didn't and something happened inside of the house, then where is she today? And did or does Dr. Amos's wife know? Is she harboring a secret? Why hasn't there been any trace evidence of Clea leaving or a sign of an abduction? If something happened, there should be something. There is a possibility that it was missed due to the case not being taken seriously early on. Now, we can't completely eliminate the theory of Clea possibly leaving Dr. Amos's home and walking home. It's possible, especially if she noticed that Laurel was not there. But remember, she never called home according to reports. She was supposed to call home to get a ride instead of walking home in the night. I was able to pull the historic weather archives for May 9th, 1994, the day Clea was last seen. It was summer 1994 in Pine Bluff. The weather was warm. When she was dropped off at around 5 p.m., it was 72 degrees and the skies were clear and sunny. At 7:59 p.m., the sun was setting. When it was time for her to leave work at 8:30 p.m., it was around 64 degrees and already pitch black outside. Though dark, it was a temperature that one could tolerate if they had a jacket. Clea was last seen wearing a white shirt and short set with a navy polka dot pattern on the shorts and blue stripes on the shirt, with white socks and white athletic shoes. She wasn't dressed to walk home. I can't seem to make much of this case. The reason is because there really isn't much to make of it when you look at the hard facts. Coupled with Dr. Amos's odd behavior, the two sisters quitting their job with Dr. Amos, then recruiting for him buying some of the surrounding homes, if this is true, removing the missing person flyers from the neighborhood, his abusive past, and his lack of concern. It just seems like there is something missing, a small piece missing. Laurel states that Dr. Amos hasn't done enough to prove his innocence, and I can see why she states that. As stated earlier, law enforcement searched his home 2 weeks after Clea went missing, and they didn't find anything that shows there was a struggle. I wasn't expecting them to. By then, if something did occur in his home, it would not be there 2 weeks later, at least on a surface level. This case should have received much more coverage than it did almost 30 years ago. It is still unsolved. Details are scant, but it appears we have someone who's hiding in plain sight. Whoever is responsible, because I don't believe she walked away from her life. It was kept small to only a limited amount of people, possibly no more than 2 individuals, because the case has gone cold and quiet. We know her last location, but after that, it goes untraceable. I wonder, has the current wife of Dr. Amos spoken to the PD on more than just one occasion since she was present that night? I first heard about this case in 2013, 10 years ago, and 1 year after the search. Today, we still don't have the answers. I can't even say we're close to finding out what happened. I can't say all cases have a motive, but most do. Why would someone want to make Clea disappear? Why have things gone cold for this long in such a small town? What I do know is that someone knows something. What I'm unsure about is how could someone just vanish? Either those involved were kept to only one or two individuals, or someone else is making sure this case remains unsolved. Whoever is involved is strategic and has to know the area well, very well. Law enforcement has mentioned that they believe Clea's disappearance is due to an abduction. Due to the lack of coverage, the nearly 2-decade-late extensive search, and law enforcement initially not taking the case seriously, until people start talking and those internally that know more or may have information come forward, this case will remain left without answers, unsolved, and very cold.
Okay, you guys, she did a really good job. Shout out to her for giving me shouts out. She looked at the interview. I've done many interviews with Clea's mom. We've gone to Pine Bluff about 3 or 4 times and interviewed people about the case, and those that we could. We've ridden down his street. I don't know what that man has going on, but we took pictures of his home, right? And so when we took pictures of his home, we drove on up the street to Clea's mother's house, which is right up the street, and then you make a right, you right there at her house. Like, it's a less than a block. And so he sent a white guy around there to see who we were, to Clea's mother's house. We were standing in the yard. And he pulls up and he was like, well, we know you all are not from around here. And Clea's mother was like, that's really weird. She was like, Dr. Amos, he lives like next door to Dr. Amos. Dr. Amos sent him around there to see who we was. Why would he let Dr. Amos send him to pull up at Clea's mom's house to see who we were, to send him out like that? But I ended up calling Dr. Amos. I got his phone number and I called him and I told him, I asked him if I could interview him. He talked to me like I was a damn shitty dish rag. Okay. And he was very arrogant. He blamed Clea's mother. He said, what kind of woman sits up and, first of all, he blamed Clea's mom, number one, for letting her work for him. He said, what? I never saw her mother. When her mother let her come and work for me, not one time did she come to try to meet me. So he blamed Clea's mother for him being a fucking predator. Number two, he said, I wasn't at home the day that Clea, when she came there, although Clea's mom said she was listening to his wife when she called and asked, did she want to come in and work overtime early? Come in early. And because she had been asleep when his wife rang the phone, and she dropped her off there. Dr. Amos said to me, what kind of mother gonna bring her daughter to my house and I wasn't at home? And he said, did she tell you what she was doing, the reason that she couldn't come and pick her daughter up? What kind of mother drops her daughter off at my house and I'm not home, and then she does not come and pick her up when she's supposed to? Okay, so he totally blames the mama. Okay, he kept calling her Loretta Hall. That's not her name. Okay, and so then I said to him, I said, well, Dr. Amos, because he started getting madder and madder. I said, well, listen, you've never had the opportunity to tell your story, your side of the story. I would love the opportunity for you to tell your side of the story. Hello. Hey, listen, I was gonna send you that area, that I was telling you about that. Yeah, I was gonna send it to you. Want me to send it to you on? It's like in a video. It's showing the whole area. I don't know if it's really farmland, but it's like showing the whole area, and it's got the barn and everything. So do you want me to send it to you? I think it'd be better if I send it to you on Facebook. You want me to do that? Okay, I'm sending it. Hold on, let's see. I'm gonna send it to you right now. I think it's let me know where it starts here, because I'm gonna send it to your Facebook. And I'm gonna tell you exactly if it starts from the beginning, I'm gonna tell you where to go, where to start it, to look at it, and then let's see. Okay, let me know if you got it. I just sent it to you right now, and let me know where it starts at. And I'm gonna tell you where to start the video at. You must have been outside in your yard. Yeah, it says justice for Howard Barnett. Is it? Yeah, click on that, and then because it's going to show you like the whole area of we was talking about where his body is low. Okay, so go to 2 hours and 18 minutes. Go all the way down to 2 hours and 18 minutes. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Because I just put that in your did you make a mistake and delete it? Oh, okay. It's not going to the 2 hours and 18 minutes. Mm-hmm. Might have to refresh it. It's a YouTube video. It is. It's a YouTube video, so that's why it keeps going back to YouTube. But is it showing like the channel? Because it's gonna go back to the channel that that the video is showing the whole location. Maybe I should resend it to you again. I don't know, but it's just gonna do the same thing. I might have to. It's not playing. Oh, I wonder, is it on private? But it's playing for me, so it couldn't be on private. Um, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And now it's not playing at all. Oh wow. Mm-hmm. I might have to edit that part and send it to you since it's not playing, but it was playing for me. Uh, let me see. Has it? No, and sometimes they act up on the phone too. Sometimes it'll act up on the phone too. Um, it's gonna show that whole area. I'm gonna edit it. I'm gonna take the video and edit it down to um yeah, I can say you want me if I email it to you want me to email it to you? Like a text message on your phone? Let me see. I think I can do that because I sent it to you. Yeah. Share it to you on your phone. Okay. Hold on, let me see. I'm gonna go to the channel. Oh shit. I think I'm gonna have to send it to, hold on, let me see. Mm-hmm. 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 They might, you're right, because like I just tried to open it from my phone and it's not, it's opening from the with the let's see.
Run me up, man.
Okay, well,
Tag a friend.
it's showing.
Yeah,
Hold on,
and
I'm gonna
another
send it to
friend.
you on your
Fuck you
phone,
saying?
like you said.
Everybody get here. Okay, so we go again.
Okay, I just copied it. And I'm gonna send it to you in a text from my other phone. It'll come through your phone. Let's see. Mm-hmm. Oh wow. Wow. Mm-hmm. 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 Mm. Oh wow. Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm. 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 You see it? Mm-hmm. Oh wow. Mm. Wow. Mm. 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 Okay. Let's see. So I want to make sure you see it in your phone. Okay. Okay. So because that's Fayette County, and they're in Fayette County. Their cadaver dogs are. Uh huh. Well. Mm-hmm. Right. Right. Oh. Right. Mm-hmm. Oh. Mm-hmm. Okay. S- Mm-hmm. Okay. 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 So. Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm. 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 Right. Mm-hmm. Right. Absolutely. Right. Because the investigator on the case, he did say that he was talking to his lieutenant about upgrading the case, meaning sending it over to homicides, right? And so, and then he said when he had talked to homicides, homicides had told him that since the young Dolph murder, he was like the homicide investigators told him since the young Dolph's murder, so many people had been calling in talking about the murders that especially Straight Drop, the one that had killed young Dolph with Trula Mafia, talking about how many murders he had been involved in, and they was trying to sift through all of that. Now he did tell me that he was like, the I called over there. I told him about Howard Barnett's case, and he said that one of the investigators said that Howard Barnett's name had come up also when whoever it is had been talking about the murders, especially that Straight Drop had been involved in, right? And they was just trying to sift through all of that. But I do know that it's not what people say, it's what you can prove, of course. Now I don't really know how ruthless um I don't really know how ruthless Trula Mafia was. I know because other than you hear people say, I know you said that your precinct had to deal with their little shenanigans or whatever, but I don't really know how ruthless they are, but it's just that the connection was the young lady. Hmm. With beefing with who? Mhm. Mhm. Mm. Mm. Mhm. You said G Money. Was it J Money? Okay. Mhm. Mm. Mhm. They was putting the bodies in the fields? In the field? Oh, wow. Mhm. Mm. Mm. Mhm. And that's where they would throw the bodies at. Mhm. Mm. Mhm. Mm. Wow. Mhm. Mhm. So Trula was battling with Fast Cash? I guess they must have, because I thought they were allies. Mhm. You know the leader of Fast Cash, that's Mike Williams' grandson. Did you know that? He was unfortunately, he lost his life, unfortunately. Right. Wow. It was sad. He looked like them. Mhm. Who? Zach Randolph? Mhm. Mm. 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 Yeah, I know. In Indiana too. And he was in doing that in Indiana too. Mhm. Wow. Wow. Right, right. Mhm. Right. Mhm. 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 Mm. I can't think of the name of the hmm. AOB? Mhm. Wow. Mhm. Wow. Wow. Mhm. Right. Right. Let's see, I'm gonna pull the video up. Okay, cool. It starts at 2 hours and that part starts at like 2 hours and 18 minutes. No, it starts at like 2 hours and yeah, 2 hours and 18 minutes. Okay, so to be exact, no, 2 hours and 9 minutes. It's gonna show Howard Barnett's face. 2 hours and 9 minutes. Okay. Wow. Or them just killing each other. Now, did they ever set any cars on fire? Wow. Mm-hmm. Wow. The field was isolated where they was throwing those bodies at? Wow. Wow. Mm. Mm. Mm.
One in all your honor. They can't hide anymore.
Right down here, still smoking.
But City, watch out. The next day or the day after, the van just pops up right here by coincidence.
It might be Tipton County. A Tipton County and Fayette County line. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. So Fayette County would handle the homicide. So, okay. Hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm. Who said that? Where he at now? Oh, black guy, right? He wasn't worth the damn. He wasn't worth the damn when he was because. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right. Okay, y'all. If I hadn't I got off, I'd have been on for 2 hours. And people try to say that I make up information. I don't get information. I have to run away from information. I always get it from the source. Okay. Anyways, y'all, what was we talking about? We was talking about Clea Hall. We're gonna let okay. Oh, Lord. Let me see. I have to recalibrate my brain oftentimes. We was talking about Clea Hall. Okay, so what ended up happening is with Clea Hall, when I called him, he talked to me so bad, okay? He was mad that I had called him because he's been able to bully everybody. He lawyered up. He had somebody within the state that was helping to cover for him within the police department too at the time. And so I think now the reason they won't solve the case is because they know that Clea's mother can get can own the state because of how they totally messed the case up, right? So, anyways, what ended up, so I called him. I was trying to talk nice to him, and he told me, he said, um, um, he told me that he was like, let me tell you something. Don't you, you ain't even got no business calling me if you ain't read the police report. He was like, you need to read the police report. And I was like, he was like, you haven't read the police report? I was like, no, I haven't. He said, you ain't got no bid. Don't you even call me no more until you get that police report. When you get the police report, you read the police report, then you call me. Okay. And to then I ain't got nothing else to say to you. That's how arrogant he is. I said, okay. So I started calling around, got somebody to hurry up and give me that police report instantly, right? Which was nothing. Nothing, because he said nothing. Even in the statement that he made, because he made a statement, he said nothing. He lawyered up. So I'll say about a few hours later, I called him his number back, right? And he had changed his phone number. He had changed his phone number, right? Changed his phone number because he didn't want me calling him no more. He knew that he would not speak to me anymore, right? So then he changed his phone number. I knew that it was gonna update. Okay. So I was like, dog, he changed his phone number. And so now I gotta wait a few hours and wait for his phone number to update. Okay, because I got it like that, right? And so I waited for his phone number. I waited, sure enough, ran it, I was able to, it updated. I was able to get it. Okay. I called him back in a few hours that same day after he changed his number. His wife answered the phone. And I told his wife that I was the young lady that was talking to her husband earlier. I would like to speak with him. She said, oh, okay. Real timid voice. She gives him the phone. And this time he started spitting fire. I said, how you doing, Dr. Amos? I said, remember I spoke with you a few hours ago and you told me not to call you back until I got the report. I said, I got it. I read it. I just like nothing had happened. I ain't say nothing about you change your motherfucking phone number. It didn't make no difference because I had it. And it made him mad. He was spitting fire. He started screaming at his wife. He said, I thought you said this was something, and then he started screaming at her. And he started going totally off. He started talking bad about Clea. He started talking bad about Clea's mother. He talked so bad about that woman, it didn't make no sense. He was livid, totally mad. This is a lady that the last place her daughter was at your house, and you mad at this lady because she want to know what happened to her child. And you talking about how she was a bad mother, how she never should have let her daughter came to your house and all of that. Okay. I mean, mad as hell. I wish to God that I had recorded that. Oh my God, I wish to the Lord. That man was so mad that it was ridiculous. Okay. I guess he thought I was his wife, but I was calm because I needed, everybody been scared of him for some reason. Okay. So, anyways, he I told him, and he was like, well, he would talk to me another time. He could not give me an interview at that time, but he would talk to me another time, and I would have to come to his house. Now he know damn well ain't nobody going up in that big brown ass house, because women that go up in there don't come out. Okay. He know ain't nobody coming up in his house, not unless they got 6 or 7 armed guards with them to blow his damn brains out, right? So, anyways, Miss Hall said, like after I called him, he started like he would ride past that. He had started because he had stopped riding past the house. He had started going all the way around through the neighborhood where he could just turn off the main street into his street, because his house is like, well, now he started buying all the houses around his house. It's something going on in that backyard, just like those Hispanics said, because he ended up buying all the houses around his house so that nobody could ever get in his backyard. The backyards are connected the way those houses are, and so nobody can ever jump the yard and get in his backyard. He's trying to keep everybody away from that house. He even made an offer to the church that's on the side of the house, and they rejected it. They wouldn't let him buy the church so that nobody could be close to his backyard, because that's where the dead bodies are now. Let me just say this. Clea had at this time had been missing for over 25 years. I don't think her body would be smelling at this time. It's probably totally decomposed. These were, if the bodies, if it was smelling like rotten flesh, these were new bodies. Okay. So then Miss Hall told me that when Clea went missing, she said she was in such disbelief and a daze. Like, people were calling her. This lady called her and said, in his hometown of Helena, and said that Helena, Arkansas, she said, the lady said, he's done this before. The lady told her he has done this before. The lady said he used to work at a funeral home, so he liked working at funeral homes ever since he was about 14 years old. So he knew how to decompose, he knew how to embalm bodies and stuff. And she said that the lady said when he was a teenager, about 17, 18 years old, everybody in his town knew that there was a white girl that he had allegedly raped and killed. He did this, and people in the town of Helena, because of how crazy he was, they might call it Helena, Arkansas, I'll be calling it Helena, was scared of him. Okay. So one night I'm sitting at home just minding my own business. Y'all know that the Clea Hall case been up. I interviewed her mother when I first started doing my TV show. So it was about 10 years ago, right? They came from Arkansas down to my studio in Memphis. So I'm just sitting at home, minding my own business. At this time, I was putting my phone number up on the screen. My old phone number is still up on the screen. This guy called me, okay, from out of Texas, this black guy. And he said, I was looking at that show you did with Helena. I was looking at that show you did on Clea. And he said, I want you to know, I know Dr. Amos, and what y'all think that, this is exactly how he said it. What y'all think that motherfucker did, he did it. He did that to that girl. Okay? He said he did it. And so then he went on. This is what he told me. And I believe that, because remember now, when the day after Clea went missing, Dr. Amos left and went to Texas. This was his high school and college friend and childhood friend that he grew up with, that is now living in Texas. The man said, I can't have no parts of it. This was an old man, because my mother at the time, his mother was still living. and my mother is still living in Helena, and I'm not living in Arkansas anymore, and I'm scared he'll go do something to my mother. He says that I believe he was telling me exactly what happened. He says that he believes, he said, I'm gonna tell you what I think, my theory on what happened. Do you have time to listen? I said, yes, I do. He said, so this is what I think happened. He said, so I'm not telling you this is what happened. I don't know, but this is what I think. He said, so if you go and tell the police and they come to me, it ain't going to be able to be proven in court because I don't know. But I believe the man was telling me what happened. He said, I believe that he made an advance on her. He said, I think he made an advance on her and she rejected him. He said, growing up, he always had an issue with rejection. I believe he made an advance. She rejected him. And then she got up to leave. He was too precise and said that she was going to tell somebody. He said, I wish that she had just got up and left and not said nothing. This is how I know this man was telling me what happened. He said, I really wish she had just got up and left and not said nothing. I wish she had not said that she was going to tell nobody. But when she told him she was going to tell somebody, he flipped out and killed her. That's exactly what he said. Here, my right hand to the Lord on my daddy's grave. Okay. I asked him if Clea's mother could call her. Clea's mother could vouch for me. I asked him if Clea's mother could Clea's mom call. He said yes. Clea's mother said that man was so paranoid that it was ridiculous. She said he kept saying, I'm not sure he did this. So if you go to the police, it's not going to go anywhere because I'm not sure. It's just my thoughts. Okay. She said the man was so paranoid that it didn't make no sense. But you have to think about, why in the hell would a man that's living in Dallas, an older man, decide? He said he just decided to type in Dr. Amos' name because he got curious about what had happened to that girl. You know, what updates on what had happened to that girl. And he said he typed in his name and he started looking for updates on Clea's case. That's because he knew. He knows that Dr. Amos did this. And he kept saying, whatever you think whatever y'all think he did to her, he did it to her. That he said that motherfucker did it. He said, I grew up with him, I went to school with him, and I went to college with him. He said he has a nerves of steel. He'll do anything. He's crazy. What's wrong, man? What's wrong, man? I think these dogs be having seizures. What's wrong, man? Oh my God. What's wrong? Calm down. Calm down. Calm down, man. Calm down. Calm down. Ooh. Calm down. Get your breath. I noticed that these little dogs be having seizures. They get stiff and can't breathe. Okay. Ooh. I had to calm him down. Lord have mercy. And he still move. Shit, I'm trying to handle him. He still ain't got his breath back. Get on. Let me get him back right. Okay, man. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I need to see what to do when they start having he just got his breath back. You just got your breath back, man. It's okay. I know you have to calm him down. You got your breath back, man. Let him lay over here next to me so I can watch him. Okay, y'all. Let me see. What was that he just did? I think they said it'd be seizures they be having when they start doing that. It's saying I need to get him to the veterinarian. I'm gonna take him to the vet tomorrow. See why he was breathing hard like that. Anyway, y'all. So who was I talking about? Clea. So yeah. So I think the man, it's funny that he goes to that, he went to Texas and the man lives in Texas. I believe because of his fear of Dr. Amos, he helped Dr. Amos to discard possibly her body. But here's the thing that's so weird. He went to Texas a day after Clea goes missing, talk about on a business deal. They never checked out what business deal it was he supposedly went to Texas on. Instead of when everybody looking for her, this is a girl went missing in his house, but he goes out of town to Texas. So then after he comes back from Texas, 2 days later, he gets out there himself and started laying concrete, new liquid. What do you call it when you're doing a new driveway? Is it new? Is it called concrete or the sticky stuff that you use to lay a driveway? What do you call that? What do you call the sticky stuff? I forget what it's called. Is it asphalt? You know what they use to do concrete driveways? Is it asphalt that is called? Anyways, he was out there doing it himself. She said, why all of a sudden he would come back and lay a new driveway himself? It's called asphalt. Okay. So I tell you. Anyways, y'all, I got to do my baked chicken. I'm getting ready to bake some chicken, and I'm getting ready to bake chicken. I wouldn't mind doing chicken and fried potatoes. Take some olive oil and cut the potatoes up and cut up saute the onions and bell peppers and do fried potatoes and baked chicken. This sounds a little good. I like it when it be burnt a little bit. That's how my mama used to do it. Yep. Anyways, you all, I've been on here with y'all long enough. Anyways, I got to tend to my dogs and then tend to get in there in my kitchen, do some things. Anyways, you guys, I love you all. I'll talk to you later.